Hello and welcome to another ship review. Today we will talk about Coercer, the Tech 1 MR destroyer. Coercer is one of the best choices among Tech 1 destroyers for PvP in faction warfare because it's one of the best frigate killers. As you can see in the engagements and win rate stats, it's not the most popular destroyer, but it has a very high win rate, only behind Dragoon and essentially equal to Thrasher. Dragoon is a sort of a special case with a very polarizing matchup because of its bonuses, and when you have Thrasher and Coercer. And I would say that Thrasher and Coercer are the best Tech 1 destroyers right now. So how do you approach this ship? Essentially, you forget about fighting Navy destroyers completely. You just don't engage them at all. And you build your fleet around maximum efficiency against frigates. With Russia, it's a very similar idea. The ship is unique in a way that you have only 2 medium slots, and it means that you have to make some sacrifices when you feed it. There are 2 main archetypes, a brawler and a kiter. So for a brawling ship, for a brawling feat, you either go with a stationary platform, so you just feed web and scrum, or even double webs, or you feed it without tackle, so something like a macro warp drive and a web. And for kiters, the standard layout is 10MN plus Warp Disruptor, and 10MN helps you with control. You still would like to have a web like on 10MN Thrasher, but since you get bonus to the tracking, 10MN is generally sufficient to protect yourself against any kind of signature tanking stuff. Coercer is one of the highest DPS destroyers. It loses only against Catalyst, but of course with Coercer you get infinitely higher optimal range, so your engagement profile is much better when in Catalyst, and you are also much harder to hard counter and mitigate damage by just kiting you. The majority of Coercer's feat pulses, I would say the more meta feat is actually with beams, but both of them work reasonably well. Let's look at the feats next. Okay, so the first feat is the debugs Coercer. We looked at the debugs Thrasher during the Thrasher ship review, and this is the same idea popularized by the same character. It worked a bit better back when we had no Navy destroyers in the game, because it can't really fight Navy destroyers, so a larger portion of its engagement profile was in frigates, but it still works fine nowadays. So the idea is you feed for the maximum damage and application with largest beam lasers and as much DPS as you can get out of a feed. You just sit at 0 inside the complex, and when you wait for frigates, you ignore any Navy destroyers, and frankly, even Tech 1 destroyers, it will be a bit of a coin toss because your HP and DPS is not that great in destroyer against destroyer PvP. But against frigates, you can very quickly lock them, apply web thanks to sensor booster, and then just apply 500 DPS. And because you have the tracking bonus and a web, your application will be essentially perfect. It's almost impossible to break tracking on this Coercer without very specialized setups. Like close range, you probably need double tracking disruptor to mitigate. And long range, again, you will probably need double tracking disruptor to mitigate. If a frigate manages to burn away from the web range, which is about 13 kilometers, which is your optimal range, you simply switch to a longer ammo. Usually you start with multi-frequency and then you switch to standard. And again, since you have a tracking bonus and optimal range bonus, the frigate needs a very specialized setup to mitigate your DPS at fighting ranges as well. And if a frigate can't mitigate, it just cannot win because your tank and DPS is superior to practically any frigate. Of course, a frigate can leave since you don't have a point, but the practice and tens of thousands of kill mails by debug showed that many of your opponents will not react in time, or they will not be aligned, and by the time they realize they need to bail, it will be too late. It's really a lot of damage for a frigate. You can make technically some cookie cutter coercer feeds with like micro warp drive and scrum, and these feeds make sense, but I don't think they work that well in the current meta. So this is why I'm showing you stuff that I think works better. And the second feat that I think is quite decent is the Tenement Coercer. This feat has been around for I don't know how many years. When I started playing in 2013, it was around, and it's 2026 and it's still around. With this feat, you really want to be in position since you don't have a web to establish any kind of range control, and your tank and DPS is just not competitive at close range at all. So generally you want to sit inside complexes. Frankly speaking, you want to sit inside complexes with debug Coercer as well. And when you ideally make yourself an attractive target and lure your opponent to chase you. And when you just burn in a straight line with an afterburner and use your pulses. Again, you will get near perfect application because you are using highest tracking guns with a bonus to tracking and a 10 so it's not really, this is not something that can be mitigated realistically in close range. And this ship offers perfect DPS coverage for the entire warp disruptor range essentially. So a frigate that wants to bail will eat full DPS, which will be around 300 DPS hit it. And this is not really sustainable for a frigate. Generally, as a frigate, you just will have to commit and pray that you will win the DPS race. The obvious problem with this feat is that if you encounter a kiter with tracking disruptor, you're just immediately dead. Because you will only be able to cover something like 13 kilometers with pulses. This is in general one of the biggest problems with pulse lasers nowadays, is because once you meet a tracking disruptor, you're just instantly dead. But they're not that common still, so this kind of works. And this feat will also allow you to at least try fighting against a lot of destroyers if you're in position, because Tanaman will generally allow you to leave the fight if you play it correctly. Okay, so these are the two feats that I think work the best currently. Coercer is a nice Tech 1 destroyer, very cost efficient. If you want to go after frigates, this is a good choice. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next ship reviews.